Good evening, beautiful people. What a pleasure it is to be able to come to you again and to be there in your homes and to share the word with you. And today I have a guest with me. I have Jill Street with me, and I just want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you, Kayla.
And today we're going to be talking about the 7 miracles in John. And I'm hoping that this, when you hear this time, that you pick up something a little different than what you've heard and what you've actually read. How do you feel about the 7 miracles in John?
How I feel about it?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Or what's your, or should I say, what is your point of view on the miracles?
I believe if Jesus did it one time for one person, it was an example that he would do it for anyone clear up to the end of the world.
Yeah.
That if he did it once,
That's
that
right.
was a representation of what he would do forever.
Right. Well,
That's
we have the
kinda what
word
I
that
think.
tells us that he's not a, what is that, with people, he treats everybody the same.
Yeah,
So if he,
no respecter of
that's
persons.
it. No respecter of persons. That's right. All right. Well, today, so we're going to be focusing on John, and I want to look at the symbolism behind the miracles and things, and the fact that it was written to the churches, and in many ways. It's also most intriguing, I think. And if he could do these miracles then, I do want to point out that he can still do miracles today. He can still do them. They may come to us in a different manner than what it was when it was written by the scribes, miracles today could come through somebody donating a heart or a kidney. Even though it comes through surgery, it's still a miracle because the Lord has allowed that to take place for them to receive it. So the focus of John, and I want to give some statistics here. Really, the focus of John's Gospels is the Lord's Judean ministry, and really only the last 21 days of that. Was fully 10 chapters, but from 13 on are given to the last week, and a third of those Gospels, which come out to be 879 verses, are devoted to just one day. Can you imagine? I mean, when you put it like that and you put 879 verses, that seems like a multitude to me. But just one day. Just one day.
What day, Gayla?
That I don't know. The first 2 chapters defines the Lord's ministry through John's selective use of the 7 miracles. And then the 7 I am declarations and the 7 discourses then, the use of the number 7. So we know that 7 represents, it's a symbol of something. It's divine completeness. Do you agree that 7 is a divine completeness? Okay. And the use of the number 7, which symbolizes, like I said, divine completeness, is another good example of John's style and in how he portrayed these things, these miracles and things that were taking place. I won't go on to mention the I ams because that's a whole different show. It's a whole different program. But I just want to add that the leaders of Israel, they missed the spiritual point of his teaching. They missed it. So in John 2:19, we see that's the body, our body, is a temple. And when we look at John 3:3, we see that you must be born again. In John 4:10, he's the living water. Jesus is the living water. In John 4:32, he's food to eat. This is just breaking some things down a little bit before we go and depict the 7 miracles. And then in John 6:32, he's living bread. And so you will seek me and not find me. Where I am, you cannot go. And that's in John 7:33. And know the truth and be free. And that's John 8:31. So we're going to kind of get into this, and we're going to kind of see if there's some hidden morsels in these miracles here. So we all know that the first miracle, or the first one that John records, it's not necessarily in these orders, but the first one that John records is miracle 1, water into wine. And that you can find that in John 2:1-11. Now, this one, do you agree, is probably the most misunderstood? Would you think that the results in the disciples putting their faith in the Lord, that it was misunderstood, the purpose of the water into the wine?
I don't know if they understood exactly what was happening or why that the Lord did it that day. Mm-hmm. But we know, don't we?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Jesus performed in Cana of Galilee, okay? And he thus revealed his glory, and the disciples put their faith in him. And it seems so insignificant when compared to the opening miracles in the other Gospels. You just wouldn't, I don't know, perhaps maybe it's not appealing to you, or like I said, I mean, come on, I mean, he rose somebody from the dead, so water into wine, you know, but this involves either casting out demons, you know, what he's done in the other ones, and curing the leprosy. But here we have 6 empty jars. Now, and they're of stone. Normally used to hold water for ceremonial cleansing. And they are filled with water by unnamed servants. Okay, so keep in mind these words that I just spoke, okay? That the Lord turns into wine. The master of the banquet proclaims this wine to be superior to the wine served earlier. Wow, okay? So let's look at the symbolism, 6.
Save the best for last.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he said.
Oh, yeah. The number 6 is the number of man. 6 stone cold jars. 6, man. Jars stone cold and empty. So, if we're going to look at the jars, let's look at the jars as representing our heart condition. Okay? Of unregenerated man. So we fill these jars, we fill this heart with water. Living water. Because it was Jesus which is the unregenerated man, because he was the one that filled the water. Okay, so by the unnamed servant. The unnamed servant became the Holy Spirit. Okay, which is changed to wine. And the wine is the joy of our salvation. The new wine, new covenant, is superior to the old covenant. So remember, the jars of water were for ceremonial cleansing. Central to old covenant practice. From the stone cold, dead and empty ways of man's religion into the living, joyful relationship symbolized by the wedding celebration.
Oh my. Wow.
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 Nice little morsel, isn't it?
Yes.
Did you ever in your life think of that miracle in that sense? Let me say that again. From the stone cold, dead, and empty way of man's religion into the living, joyful relationship symbolized by the wedding celebration. Oh my.
The first miracle.
The first miracle.
Gayla, he did that as a symbol of what he was bringing, almost like an announcement.
Yes.
I'm here, and it's time for the bride and the groom, which is the church, and Jesus. It's going to be a celebration. And he started with a celebration before he went to the death and the resurrection. He said, by faith, he was declaring a celebration first.
That's right.
Wow.
And on top of that, it was nothing less than the mission of the Messiah. Wow. You know, that's powerful.
When Mary said to Jesus, they have no wine, what did he say to her?
Yeah, he pretty much wanted her to go and take care of it.
What did he say, though, to her? He said, it's not my time.
That's right.
She was asking for the celebration.
That's right.
Of what he was going to bring. And he isn't wanting to bring the end result yet.
That's right. Because it wasn't time.
It's not my time yet.
That's right.
But yet he done it as a symbol of what was coming.
Of what was coming. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if
if we jump ahead to John 10:10, he says that I have come that they may have life and have it to the full.
More abundantly.
Yeah. So then in miracle 2, okay, this is the healing of the official son. Okay, and we find this in John 4:43 through 54. So here is an act of God's grace, pure and simple. Wouldn't you think? It's just pure and simple. It's an act of his grace. There's no indication of the official's nationality or background. His religious convictions of his worthiness. There isn't anything in there that states anything about that. Only his faith. Implicate in the narrative is the fact that his conversation with the Lord happened on one day and his journey home took place on the next. The man took Jesus at his word and spent the night there before heading back home, believing